it cracks, moves at max. It's movie night. The gang's all here, gripped with fear. More horror films, alright. From bad to worse and worse to shit, you'll beg to fucking quit. Malevolent Movies has arrived in stereo now, nowhere to hide.
Hey, welcome everybody to Malevolent Movies, the podcast, episode number 39. My name is Ryan Matthew Ziegler, as always, your host, and we are joined by Mr. Tyler Am. How you doing, Tyler?
Whoop, whoop, post-COVID, baby.
Yeah, feeling better. Nothing like a good Malevolent movie to get the blood pumping and get, the antibodies flowing.
Speaking of antibodies, Joe!
Yeah.
Ooh.
Speaking of something that just looks like it should have been shat out of a laboratory, Joe Buckley's here.
How you doing, everybody? Hey, I'm glad to be here. It's excited. It's gonna be a good episode.
That's great. Zach is also here. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here. It's going to be a good episode.
And last but not least, Trevor is also here. How you doing, Trevor?
Hey, happy to be here. It's going to be a great episode.
Hey, did I mention that I'm happy to be here and it's going to be a great episode?
Here. I'm actually the musical guest tonight, so if you hear a bunch of weird noises, that's just me setting up, folks. I'll see you in about an hour.
If you could tune into acoustic guitar for the entire duration of this episode, make sure it gets nice and
instruments, I don't think.
And Joe, if you could please insert those dozen kazoos into your anus.
I don't believe I even own the kazoo.
The kazoo.
No, but you got a couple of skin flutes upstairs.
Hey.
Anyway, speaking of upstairs, this movie's got a lot of spooky, scary things happening upstairs in the house. We're talking about Bad Exorcists. 2015 horror comedy written and directed by Kyle Steinbach, who, interesting resume so far. He worked on The Office for a couple of seasons as a production assistant. Then when that show ended, he decided, hey, I'm going to make my own movie. I believe Kickstarter was involved, and as it happens, a movie eventually. 9 months later, there was a movie, Bad Exorcists. And it's basically, we're going to dive into it, but in a nutshell, it's about three high schoolers, film-loving friends. They like making movies, and they find themselves battling a possessed fellow student. And they have to become bad exorcists.
Shockingly, not a bad movie.
Yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time with it. So there's nobody in the movie. I mean, as far as it's ever all newcomers, there's no like little cameos or any. Nobody had Eric Roberts money. Eric Roberts didn't come in. Sometimes with these kind of low budget movies, you'll get some Michael Berryman or one of these B movie guys will come in for one day. But no, Bad Exorcist, I believe top to bottom is 100% new faces.
Okay, I kicked this sucker off.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Bad Exorcist, 2015. The film opens on a forest. It's got some moonlight streaming in through the trees. It's 1710 AD. We don't know specifically where, but actually, where does this movie take place at all?
Oh, I saw one clue. At one point, there was a dumpster that says Portland Recycles.
Oh, and that makes sense because I believe these guys who made the movie were all students at the University of Oregon or Oregon Community College or something.
Zach, get your wallet ready. Ryan, did you already try to friend people on Facebook from this movie?
No, not this time. Not yet.
Oh,
damn it.
I normally do, though. I normally like to seek out the actors, especially when it's indie stuff. I like to find them on Instagram or something, just to see what else they're up to. And
yeah, well, Zach and I were talking earlier, and we were taking bets, and we figured you probably already did. So
I hadn't. No, not yet. But it'll probably happen.
Okay, it's 17 AD. We're in Portland, probably, and we cut to a incredible establishing shot, very well lit. Of some sort of house shrouded in darkness and moonlight deep in the woods. You don't quite get a makeup of the place, but it's a pretty nice house considering 1710 AD, but hey, it's okay. But anyways, an older lady starts talking. We're getting some voiceover. And she's talking about the demonically possessed man who lives in that home. And he's being visited by a couple of Jewish exorcists. They attempt to capture the demon in a Dybbuk box, but were unsuccessful, according to our completely biased and unreliable narrator, because they were not Christian. So Christians are superior to Jews. It was a weird, kind of hard note to start on.
But like, what I really do love is that like right after that, when they leave the house because they realize they failed, they run out and they're like little cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's context. There's context for this bigotry.
And the Christian, and it's like, and then the Christians came, and he looks like a fucking elf from Lord of the Rings. Like the light
It's
is
so
behind
good.
him.
Beautiful
It's like
blonde man,
Fabio.
silken hair.
Yeah.
Like it's so
Carrying a
over the
giant
top.
golden cross.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
and then
phenomenal.
it immediately cuts.
Yeah. The school bell rings up. We're in a Catholic school. The sister Helen is talking to the class. She's the one regaling the story. Everybody's getting up to leave, and then we're introduced to two of our leads, Matt and Charlie. Charlie is kind of your default
He's the normal
lead.
kid.
Yeah, he's the guy in the group that has a girlfriend and all that. Matt is kind of the guy that he's got some charm, he's got some looks, he's got a little bit of everything, but he's a little bit of too much of everything too. But anyways, Matt's a little busted up because he thinks that Sister Helen is doing this to him intentionally, that she has a history of bullying the one Jewish guy in the school because Matt is Jewish. And so Charlie's basically like, just drop it, dude, just drop it. And so he can't help himself. Helen's like, well, what's going on here, boys? And Matt pointedly asks her if she thinks the Jewish or Christian, if the Jewish or Christian faith is superior, which one? And she kind of gives him this weird roundabout, like it seems like she's not going to answer it, but then she says, well, don't take it personally if yours is worse. And so, we get the big joke. And then Sister Helen was reading from this exorcism book, and she locks it away, and we get our opening credits. And pretty decent opening credits. It's mostly set in the backdrop of this book. There's like this middle ground of doodles where you've got the legit shit from the Necronomicon that like looks like, oh my gosh, that looks like a real bad devil book. And then you've got the really bad movies where it's like somebody who like got an A in art once drew stuff. You know, this is kind of like in between where it's like some of it looks pretty good, some of it's a little goofy, but it's overall pretty good credits. Okay, we're back with our two leads. They're at the gym. I'm assuming this is, it's at the school gym. Matt is sharing with Charlie his sex nightmare, which happens to involve Sister Helen. Some good goofs, some good bits, and we're introduced to our third friend, Dana, who's kind of the big jamook of the group. And he's about to make 700 pounds touch the sky. It's goofy. It's fun.
Really funny how when Joe was in my basement that one time when I was showing you around, he saw my weights and he did practically the same exact thing where he's like, I'm gonna pick it up and curl it. And he did it. I mean, he did it though, but it is funny how they pretty much wrote Joe into this scene.
Every Joe Buckley character.
I was just going to say that every one of these kind of movies, especially horror comedies, they got to have their Buckley. You got to have your chunk, your fat kid from the Monster Squad. You got to have, and this is your Joe Buckley, and that is this Dana character. But I thought the kid was fantastic, and he's got I saw a little bit of young John Candy in some moments, not all the time. It's little moments. There was almost like a young John Candy going on with this kid.
You can see it in his face.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe. Think of that like a young John Candy.
Well, our trio are together finally. Thank the Lord. They're cracking some jokes. There's some decent bits, but we get to the meat of this scene. We got to talk about Charlie's the one with the girlfriend, and his girlfriend's a real wench. And isn't she always in the way and annoying? And she's so mean to you, Charlie. And we get it. We get it. But Matt points out that because Dana's like, so I don't know, at least he's got a girlfriend or whatever, and then Matt's like, yeah, but even Gimbal gets more action than Charlie, and we cut across the room to the best joke of the whole movie, which is Gimbal, this tiny malnourished young man who's talking to a cheerleader. She's literally wearing a cheerleading outfit, holding a medicine ball, and he just says, well, we could go to dinner, and you have to eat sometime, don't you? And she just cuts off, says, yeah, and walks away.
It's a great bit. Me, that was the first belly laugh of the movie, and believe it or not, I had several. several belly laughs throughout this movie. That was the first one for me.
I did too.
Yeah. Well, we cut back. They're doing a couple more bits about Charlie's girlfriend, Vanessa, being annoying and prudish and yada, yada, yada. And then we cut to lunch, and Charlie's sitting with Vanessa, and Vanessa is every bit the asshole you would have expected. She expects a lot from Charlie. Charlie's never good enough and everything. And I'm just going to get it out. This is one of my least favorite parts of the whole movie is Vanessa.
Same.
Yeah.
With the exception of one big joke at the end of it, which it doesn't pay off for her, but for another character it does. But anyways,
I'm gonna real quick add on to that. That was one of my thoughts. Is like this movie. I wouldn't say there's much subtle about the humor in this movie, but she is so over the top shitty that it's like. Yeah, it becomes to the point where you're just like, why is this why does she? Why does he give a shit?
She's from a different movie.
Yeah,
yes. It feels like she's from the Big F. Yeah, she's found her way into Bad Exorcists.
Well, and so this is where I want to give these guys or this guy Kyle some credit. Kyle seems like the type of person when he watches movies and TV shows, he understands structure, he understands beats. And everything, because there's so much of this movie that feels very cliched, not in a bad way, but it's like he knows you have to have the love entanglement, and you have to have the
training
girlfriend
montage.
Yeah, sure, the training montage.
Well, in the end, there's in that.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's like he understands this stuff. In translation, it doesn't always work out. Like this girlfriend is a subplot that probably wasn't needed. But again, the movie's super light on plot. It's very, very simple. It's just, it was like they were looking for moments to get the three friends in the room so they could riff and do jokes. And that's the best stuff. When it's the three buddies making jokes
and
together.
It's rare that that's the best part of one of these movies we watch, but it is in this one. They pulled it off somehow.
So anyways, we set up that it's Vanessa's birthday, and she doesn't really care about Charlie. And so she just literally walks away from the lunch table and he eats some string cheese.
Which I don't want to make the episode longer, but I want to make a point. I think this is the first time in a movie I've ever seen somebody eat string cheese. It's one of those real life things that I love string cheese, but it's one of these things I don't think I've ever seen anybody eat fucking string cheese. String cheese doesn't exist in movies, and in this movie, the motherfucker eats string cheese.
Now, do you bite it or peel it?
No, you got to peel it. It's called string cheese for a reason.
Yeah, true.
I peel it. I take my time with it. I peel it.
Joe just takes all of the strings out of the package, melts them down, and then pours them down his gullet.
Like on top of some chips, on top of some tortilla chips.
Sortilla.
Sortilla.
No, tortilla.
That's what they got over in the ridge.
Yeah, they can't afford tortillas. They got sortillas. They're made out of soybeans. That's all they got around town.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Okay.
They insist it's all right.
Anyway, so he's eating a soy tortilla.
Okay, we're with the guys again. They're in class. They're taking a math or a chemistry test or something. And Dana and Charlie are trying to be focused on their tests, and Matt keeps interrupting them because Matt finished their video. So, we're film guys, and he wants to show it at an AV club or video class or something. And the Dana and Charlie don't like being interrupted during the test, and I can't remember which one of them it is, but somebody says, this isn't a group test, and Matt's like, it is when the teacher's asleep, whip pan, whoop, there's the teacher asleep. So there's a lot of this kind of get the beats out of the way. I appreciated this, as much as I don't like the girlfriend subplot crap, at least we're getting through it fast. We cut to the hallway where that must be between periods. Charlie's sitting on some lockers or on the fucking railing, and he's talking with Dana, and all the conversation is to establish that a girl named Lisa was out of town for a while. She's back, and Charlie has a crush on Lisa. And then we cut to the end of our trio's Bad Film Club film. They're watching it. You don't really get a sense of it. It's not overtly dumb or bad. It's like a guy jumping around in the woods, and so it's like you can just assume this isn't going to be well received. And of course, most of the kids get up and leave except for three other guys. They're your classic film school dudes, nerds. And they just start ripping it apart, and they're just
real Kubrick types.
Yeah, real Kubrick Lynch types.
Well, that
real A24 crowd. These guys.
Mm-hmm,
I did like that
wonderful.
The one kid with the mustache was wearing a T-shirt that said Ernest Hemingway on it. it's like a band shirt, but you love Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
Film bad. These guys should feel bad. Other nerds leave, and but behind them on the corkboard is a flyer for the Reel, REEL, Fear Festival. There's a film festival in town. Initially, they think it's next weekend. We find out later they're wrong. But Matt points out that if they graduated today, then they'd all be known for that one time Dana clogged the toilet on the zoo field trip. Dana coughs. He says, "Good prank." And then Matt immediately cuts him off and says, "It wasn't a prank. It was just a big shit." It's pretty funny.
That's great.
Yeah, that can be a prank.
And it comes back later. So it is a gift that keeps on giving us goof.
Yeah, it's the shit that keeps on shitting.
Yeah.
Anyways, Matt says that, we're going to do a film about an exorcism, and I already took the exorcism book from Sister Helen. I already talked to Lisa, and she said she's going to be in it because Charlie initially is being all flaky, like you'd expect of him. But then when he hears that Lisa's going to be the possessed girl, now he is possessed to participate.
No.
Charlie shows up at Lisa's house, and like it feels like this is the first day that Charlie and Lisa are on set. So he runs up to her. She's painting on the porch, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to, get you set up for the movie later." And she's like, "What? What's this all about?" And then he's like, "Oh, I'm an idiot," because he thinks he's been goofed, right? He thinks he's been pranked. She's like, "I'm just kidding," but like. They have good chemistry throughout the movie right here. And I don't know if it's because Charlie never smiles at all. They have fine chemistry throughout the movie.
I think she has great chemistry with him. I think he's not as strong.
So the thing is, like, his character is like the nervous type. And I get that. But like, he also like when he does break. So when she finally is like, "Hey, I'm just fucking with you," he doesn't like smile and laugh about it. He just like keeps the same nervous look. And then they walk into the house. And it's just like, it is really awkward. And it's not. It's not
I almost wish they did, because it doesn't quite make sense. Charlie is the one that was able to get a girlfriend, but he's also like a compete. I mean, I guess the idea is that he likes Lisa, therefore he's a klutz around her. But like, I would almost like it more if he was just a nerdy klutz and he couldn't do it right, and Matt had a girlfriend that he hated, and Matt was just an asshole to her and she was an asshole to him. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Lisa's like, "I'm just kidding. Let's go on inside." And we cut to Dana and Matt. Dana's making like a pentagram out of rocks in a bedroom. And Matt is reading through the book, the Exorcist book, reading out the things. He says, apparently the book is flammable. He's like, "Man, people are so stupid. Of course it's flammable." Keeps moving on. I don't even know what I put. They're doing their music in video. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we cut to they're doing the exorcism, right?
Yeah.
And it's after Charlie's helped her choose her outfit. That's a very sexually charged scene, because she's like, "What are we gonna wear? Is it gonna be this?" And he's like, "Gulp. I don't know." And there is a scene he says like, "Looks like something my Nana wore." "Oh, don't worry. I love my Nana. I killed my Nana by banging her." And this is where like the jokes are just like,
well, she's playing into it because the idea is that like she's trying to make it seem like she's into it or something.
Yeah.
And the idea, but here's what it is, folks. I'll spoil it for you at home. She's one of those cool girls who's kind of just goes with the flow.
Oh, she's like one of the guys almost.
Whoa, a perfect babe. What?
Yeah, I want a banger.
Well, Joe, what did you think of? Hey, Joe, what did you think of these jokes?
Wait, what?
What did you think of these jokes that they were about banging the grandma? Because I thought of you instantly.
I thought it worked.
Okay.
And
I can believe that someone would have sex with their grandmother. Yep.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen that on the internet.
Well,
yeah, I think it works.
And it's supposed to be like a real foot and mouth thing for Charlie to say. Then she goes along with it, and it's like, "Oh, okay, maybe she's like, he's like, maybe I'm not so bad at this flirting thing."
Yeah.
So we come back and they're ready to do the old exorcism here. They've got her in the bed. The lights are on her. Charlie's running boom mic. Dana's running camera. It's just like, they really got it going pretty quick.
I'm sorry.
I do think it's funny, like in a lot of stuff like this, and maybe it's supposed to be because they're not very smart, but they turn on the music while recording. And I don't know if it's just because like it doesn't make sense because you'd have to edit music in. Why would you play the music in scene?
I think it's for the audience is what it is.
And it's like Zach and Miri make a porno style.
But and I will say this movie it's just a consistently well-made movie overall. Mm-hmm. From audio quality to like the music, nothing is too overwhelmingly bad. Like there's just some things that don't land as well.
Yeah. And so Lisa's doing the whole possessed thing. It kind of looks more like a bit of an orgasm.
Yeah.
And the boys are all sitting there like creaming their jorts.
One of them does.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dana has to cover up his boner.
Big stiffy.
And with a pillow.
Big stiffy.
And the lights start to flicker and flash, and the lights go out completely. And we do see our first, I think this is the first effect, right? Is when we see like Lisa's in the bed and like something like kind of creeps at her, like a shadow starts to creep towards Lisa.
Yes.
Poltergeist ghost.
Yeah, and it's decent. And then we see a man that looks like a combination of Henry Winkler and Mel Brooks come into the room.
This is a strange man.
He's a strange man.
It's like his head's too big. He's a shorter guy.
Yeah.
He's got a big head.
I don't like, for whatever reason, every time I look back at him, it's either Henry Winkler or Mel Brooks. And like, now I'm looking at him, you're right. His head looks like it was inflated in post.
Yeah. You put his head on Bilbo Baggins' body.
Oh, so he comes in, he's like, oh, accidentally cut the power. And like, he's looking at the kids and he like turns and he walks away. He's like, hey, honey, Charlie and them are making a porno in there. He just like walks away. And it's good. It's just good delivery.
Yeah.
Lisa's starting to get kind of sick. So she goes outside and there is this joke that there are times where I like the stupid humor. Like Dana's sitting here, gets left alone with Matt. Charlie walks out and Dana finally gets it off his chest. He's like, hey, I've been meaning to talk to you. How do rappers get to come up with their own dance moves? Because they're not dancers, they're rappers. And this bit got me. And it comes back later too.
Yeah, it comes back a couple times.
And he goes outside, Charlie does, to check on Lisa, who's standing in the driveway. And she faints for a second there. He catches her.
That part was a little awkward because she's standing there just looking down the driveway, and then he comes up and then she's like, oh, did I just faint? It's like it felt like it could have just been a part of their relationship stuff. It almost would have been better because like she's getting sick immediately, and it would almost be better if it was kind of like you're not quite sure type deal. Because again, the bit with the lights, when the lights go out and you see like the tendrils or the black smoky hands trying to get her, and then right before they get her, lights on, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, dude, we don't know. Who knows where it could have gone up Dana's butt.
Yeah, could have. And so she faints, and then we cut right back to Dana trying to convince Matt that the whole thing, he's like, I could do that. I'm not a dancer, but they're not either. They're rappers. And then we cut back and, he says they don't have a hip-hopoly.
Yeah, they have a monopoly on hip hop.
Yeah, a hip-hopoly. Dana gets me throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, Dana's great.
So then we go back outside, and she's like, you know what? I'm just kind of jet lagged. I got to split. I'm out of here. So as she drives home, that's what she said.
She was in Italy.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I thought that was some Zach conjecture. Sorry.
No. So she's driving home. She gets a bloody nose. We get our title card, Stage 1, Sickness. I like the cards.
I think
them
too.
They're good. Yeah. It's actually fun. Like, they're more well made than the picture of like the goat that was in the Exorcism book.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a rough drawing of a goat in there.
Yeah. You couldn't get anybody else to draw this?
And so then while this was going down, Matt happens to have found proof of a real exorcism or a real possession. He's like, you know what? Forget this whole fake shit we're doing here. Let's go to a real possession. We can just go film that. Bada bing, bada boom. We made our movie.
Yeah, because it's in the Exorcism book that they took. It's almost like somebody left a case file in there.
Yeah, it's got like a picture of a barn like stapled to it and everything. And so he convinces Charlie to go by saying he's gonna kiss him. If he's like, I'm gonna kiss you if you don't. And it's just boys being boys,
doing a little bit of wrastling.
Yeah,
but
he's like.
I like what Charlie says, though.
Yeah, Charlie's like, stop trying to get God, Matt, you smell like shrimp.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's just goofy. It felt like a moment between real friends there for a second.
Yeah.
It does.
Maybe it was a little bit of improv behind the scenes. Who knows?
Well, when they wrote Charlie's character, did they write has an affinity for picking up on oceanic smells? Because he also smells Atlantic salmon later.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing to happen
Probably.
twice. You know?
I'm sure there was a third one in there.
But it is a
somewhere
good
that got
logo.
cut.
Yeah.
It is a good logo. And I think that's the end of mine is he convinces Charlie, hey, let's go see this real exorcism. And let's get going.
So as the gang heads to the possessed kid in the barn, Dana continues to do his hip-hoppily bit only for Charlie. Charlie then also mentions that Lisa will probably not show up. Matt says, well, don't worry. If we don't have our lead actress, I got a backup. Cut to, they're inside the house of this possessed kid, and we see that Matt's backup plan is a ruse. He has the farmer who is in the home and is the father of the possessed kid. He's got him convinced that Matt is a priest and that they are all a legit exorcism team. And Matt's wearing a full-on priest outfit, and he's got a massive cross around his neck. Just a huge cross. So as the farmer tells the gang about his possessed son, whose name is Rufus, this weird pale kid emerges from behind the farmer.
I could love this bit.
This is a real naughty boy.
And, the kid's probably 7, 8, I don't know. But he immediately begins this awkward stare down with Dana. And Dana's visibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Thinking that kid is indeed possessed Rufus, Dana starts to freak out, but then the farmer introduces, no, this isn't Rufus, this is my other non-possessed son, Jake. Matt then
There's
explains...
nothing wrong with Jake.
Yeah, he's a great little boy.
Yeah, well-behaved, silent. Matt explains Dana's behavior as being due to having a third of his brain removed. The man with no brain. And then Jake says, I don't like the fat one, Daddy. Cut to Lisa. We're with Lisa. She's looking sweaty and pale, and she's in the hospital, clad in a hospital gown, and she's laying, on a hospital bed. There's an old man with her, an old doctor. She just kind of explains, kind of rambling, I don't feel like myself. Something's wrong. And the old man, the doctor, says, well, you're not here for your pap? That could have gotten real strange, real awkward. I laughed because I didn't expect it.
Ryan.
I laughed. I laughed because I didn't expect it.
This doctor just isn't, he's not great. I just didn't think he landed the delivery very well.
No.
Because I couldn't tell, is he actually, forgetful, or is he, I just want to come in and do the pap. Let's keep trying to do this pap thing.
I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be a creepy ass old man, like a pervy old man, or if he's supposed to be like a forgetful, completely past his date of expiration doctor. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was just I thought he was forgetful because he keeps calling her by the wrong name. Because they do the bit a couple of times, and what I liked about it the first time is I didn't expect it. I didn't know what,
right.
I thought the doctor was just going to talk to her, and all of a sudden he's like, you're not here for your pap? It came out of nowhere. It was one of those, slapping in the face. I'm like, what? And I almost laughed more because I was like, what the fuck? than it necessarily being delivered well. But regardless, I laughed. So then the doctor leaves. Oh, and so as Lisa waits for the correct doctor, the lights flicker, and she's staring at herself in the mirror, and she sees flashes of a demon version of herself in the mirror. Oh, shit's getting crazy. Demon possession's taking hold. And then the door opens, and the exact same doctor comes in. He says, hi, Linda, I'm Dr. Williams. Time for your pap.
This is when it got me.
Yeah. I was like,
the second time. Because he comes in and he's got his glasses back on. He's reading and says, oh, hey there, Linda. Doesn't even look at her. And the other two people come in with him.
Yeah. He's followed by two eager assistants, and they got a wheelie cart just full of pap smear accoutrement. Just all kinds. They're ready. They are ready. It's like a Jiffy Lube. They're right there, ready to 15 minutes in and out.
Right.
One of those NASCAR tire fixers.
Yeah, these fucking guys, they're ready. I mean, they were raring to go. Yep. It's like somebody rang the pap alarm, and these guys, slid down the pole, and they're ready to go. All right, so pap smear accoutrement. All right, then the doctor says, "Oh, my mistake." And they do the whole thing again, and she's like, "No, I'm not Linda. I'm Lisa." And she says, I don't feel well. She gets a little demon voice. She grabs the doctor because he starts saying, well, maybe you're just under stress. And you have a clean bill of health. And she goes, I don't feel well. And she grabs him. And then he just kind of stumbles and stammers. And then he says, well, I mean, call me if you're feeling bad. Oh, look at here. It looks like you're almost ready for your annual. Again, another pap smear joke. And then he leaves. But the assistants run back in real quick because they hear the $1 million word pap or annual, and they come running in. But
it felt like like I told Tyler, this feels like that felt exactly like a bit from Scrubs. Like where they I think they sped it up a little, right? And so it's like, and you'd get like that sound that they do in Scrubs all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Here
very
comes
cartoonish.
Dr. Acula.
Yep, exactly.
That's a Scrubs joke.
Yeah. Dr. Papper.
Dr. Papula.
Is that from Scrubs?
Yeah.
Dr. Acula was, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a script.
I thought the Dr. Papula.
No.
Oh, I like
Straight
that.
off the
No,
dome.
that's a little bit too extreme for mainstream television.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you watch so much mainstream.
Yeah.
You're not
I
gonna
watched
get
Scrubs. I watched Scrubs back in
You're
the day.
not gonna bait me, Joe.
Okay.
Master
sure would like
or
to.
otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
No, I don't masturbate my friends.
Okay, great. Then what happens,
Just
Ryan?
cousins.
These boys are on this farm, as I understand.
Yeah, back at the farmhouse, the gang is waiting for sundown when they can finally meet Rufus because the farmer says, well, he's really only active at night. He's like a moth. Charlie is not convinced at all that there's even a Rufus to begin with. They're probably just going to murder us in the barn, which leads to this Dana barn bit where he just talks about his dad has a barn, his mom has a barn, he has a barn, and he uses a barn for his rabbit meat and his jerky meat. And again, weird, fine. Dana's always got these weird bits like that.
Yeah.
Charlie then, and I laugh, But then my favorite joke in the whole movie is right now. Charlie calls Lisa, and he's leaving her kind of a rambling, nervous message. Well, just wanted to see if you're feeling better and get back to us. And then he goes, I miss you. And the actor fucking does these eyes, these big, bulging eyes right in that moment. I watched it like 3 times. It got me. And then when I had to do my part earlier tonight, it got me again. It just worked so well for me when he said I miss you. And then the way the actor immediately, he's like, holy shit, what did I just say?
So who did you do that with?
Oh, I don't think I've ever said I miss you, but I've used to always leave stupid rambling messages, and I was always putting my foot in my mouth when it came to that. So I relate.
Oh, old Mrs. Nelson, my former neighbor and 80-year-old woman. The ball went over the fence, and I was hoping I could come in the backyard and come in your backyard, and I want to come in your backyard. Oh no!
Oh,
I'm gonna have to have sex with the 80-year-old woman.
I'm just waiting for Joe to chime in.
I guess that would probably be volunteer work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Joe. Is that what you tell yourself with Nana?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I'm just doing a little volunteering.
Oh, Jesus.
He's like, well, she
Back
doesn't
to the
remember me
movie,
anyway. She thinks I'm somebody else. All right. Let's see. Rabbit meat, jerky meat.
So you mentioned Charlie's eyes. I'll say right after that, he does Charlie has really fun control of his body when he wants to. He spins around on a dime. The way he spins is very cartoonish. Right after the eyes, he's like, I didn't know what else to say. I panicked. And it's a very similar thing to later when he throws the present and he jumps out of the bed. It's just he's got really good physical comedy.
Yeah. And I really like this bit because it not only was it funny, and I didn't expect him to, he's like, I miss you. And then his response, it's so relatable. I feel I think everybody has had a moment like that. You know what I mean? And it's just, I loved it. And his friend's reaction to it, because of course Matt and Dana immediately react like, what the fuck did you just say? How would you? And then he goes through that remorse, like, oh, maybe I should call back and leave another voicemail. And Matt's like, no, that's the absolute worst possible thing you could do. Just let it lie. Then of course we get a title card that says 45 minutes later, and we hear Charlie's leaving voicemail number 6 for Lisa, where he's trying to explain why he said I miss you, and he's saying stuff like, oh, because I miss you, I miss things like and Dana tries to assist by saying, yeah, you miss her like you miss Aaliyah. There's no Aaliyah joke in this movie. Again, this sometimes you laugh just at the audacity of sometimes it doesn't make any sense, like the Aaliyah reference or the hip hop Aaliyah. It's just the barn bit. They come out of nowhere. The path thing, it's just like there's really no reason for it. Like nothing leads to this joke, but I'm laughing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, so, they aren't purposeful jokes. They don't really make tons of sense, but they are fun. That's the thing. And like they don't overstay their welcome for the most part. Like the Pap one, I think maybe overstayed a little bit, but like a lot of jokes, like there's one coming up, and I think this is in your section. You'll talk about the New Zealand goof.
Yes.
Like it really got me. I really laughed at that really hard.
Yeah, I love that bit too. Yeah, that'll be in my later section. Or no, that's actually coming up right away. Actually, right now. We cut back to Lisa's house. I assume it was somebody's house. And Lisa's sitting there with a couple of friends. She's still sick. She's still sweaty. She's looking even worse. And her friends are doing their hair and getting their makeup on. And they're just kind of talking about how Vanessa's party, everyone's going to be at Vanessa's party. And Lisa kind of stops. She's like, well, I thought it was just supposed to be a student council thing. They're like, no, and everyone's going to be there. And during this dialogue, Lisa starts getting like her audio senses are getting all weird. So we're kind of hearing the dialogue of her friends kind of in and out, of her consciousness because she's getting more and more sick and everything. But amongst this, even though it's kind of buried in the weird audio there's this bit where the two friends, the one friend is Asian and the other one's just a white girl, and she says something to her to the Asian friend. She says, "Wait a minute, you're from New Zealand?" Because there's this bit about how she went on vacation to New Zealand, came back with an accent, and she's like, "No, I'm from New Zealand." And she has a New Zealand accent, and the girl says, "But you're Asian." It has nothing to do with the movie. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's becoming. Lisa's over there getting sicker and sicker from the possession. It's just a bit. It's just a little bit that's thrown in there amongst these two characters, and it's funny. It's this absurdism.
It got me because like I had so you hear the one from New Zealand. She starts talking in my brain. I went, "Is that like a New Zealand accent?" And then like we move forward a little bit, and then it ends with like wait, you're actually from New Zealand? And I feel like that was a joke they made up on the spot of like, not them, but like the writers were like, we've got this girl from New Zealand. People are going to wonder why there's a girl with the New Zealand accent here.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
I'm assuming there's some history there for whoever the actors are.
Right.
But this is like consistent throughout the movie where you get like little conversations. It's like world building for the comedy. It's like they're trying to establish that everywhere you go, there's a little nugget of some humor. Whether or not you're willing to pay attention to it is up to you. And like that was like the good stuff. Like it's just you don't expect it. Some of it's chuckle worthy. Some of it's just kind of like that's nice. Yeah. And some of it's really funny.
Yeah. Solid. And again, it comes when you least expect it. I didn't expect a joke in the middle of that, and I almost missed it because the movie is focusing on Lisa getting sicker and sicker because the second that moment ends, Lisa splits and pukes. And it's a big, uproarious, loud puke sound effect, too, because it happens off screen. I laughed at that, too. There's a big sound effect. And then, boom, title card, stage 2, body resists. And during this, we're also seeing that she's not paying attention to Lisa's not paying attention to her phone, and she's getting voicemail number 5, voicemail number 6, all the voicemails that Charlie's leaving. We cut back to the farmhouse, and it's finally nighttime. Charlie then gets a phone call from Vanessa asking, where aren't you going to come here and help me with my birthday party? And so he's like, well, I got to go. And he's like, well, nothing's going to happen here anyway. He's irritated, embarrassed, and he fucking leaves. And, he leaves Matt and Dana behind. And Matt's like, all right, fine, cool. We'll just stay. You leave us back here with the scary demon-possessed kid. And then right behind Matt and Dana at that moment, it's the farmer. And he says, it's time.
It's a good setup.
So they start going into the barn, and Spooky Dad unlocks this giant padlock on the door, and Matt says, "You always keep your son locked in a barn?"
He's so naughty, you have to.
It's safer for everyone.
That's how we do in the Ridge.
Yeah. You want this fucker running around? Matt and Dana follow Spooky Dad through the barn, and he's going on the whole time. He's like, oh, the church thought I was crazy. They wouldn't believe me, yada, yada, yada. And Spooky Dad goes into this final dark room, and Matt and Dana try to like psych themselves up to go in there. They're both clearly a little spooked. Dana is much more spooked than Matt, but they're both kind of shaky. And Matt's just like, hey, just just pretend you know what you're doing in there, okay? And Dana says, but I don't know what I'm doing. And they then they go into that last room, and it's way too dark, and they're just stumbling around like, hello, Rufus? And they hear some chains like moving around. They hear the clinking noise. Spoiler alert, it's chains. They walk a little bit, and the light kicks on, and they're face to face with Rufus, the demon boy, who for lack of a better phrase, he looks possessed.
He looks good.
You know
white
what?
skin and like the weird dark veins in his eyes are kind of glowing a little bit, and he's he's chained up and all that.
Yeah, and it's not, and sometimes with horror comedies, even the monsters are kind of goofy, but this fucking guy, if you saw this guy in an alleyway, he's a scary demon. I mean, he's a full-on horror demon.
Yeah.
Like if he got loose, and I was
What are you trying to squeak out there, Joe?
So the audience won't necessarily know this unless they've watched Butcher the Bakers, but he also looks just like Dakota Hungerford we know. He's got the big poofy hair, he looks like him in the face, he's shirtless.
He really
does.
There's some of that in there, yeah.
I also,
so if you know who that is.
Yeah.
If you've seen Butcher the Bakers and you spotted him in the background.
This scene too, really is a great example of the lighting in this movie. They use low key lighting a lot in this that looks like it's really fucking good. Like, and I'm kind of jealous of this lighting because I wish we could have channeled what they got here in Butcher the Bakers because it's really good. And this is like a perfect scene that shows it off, in my opinion.
So they're face to face with this demon boy who's actually possessed. And Dana's very concerned. Oh no. It was very funny. He's just kind of deadpan, like, I don't, oh goodness. He's so earnestly like, I don't know what he did here.
That's a great word for it, for Dana's performance in general. Yes. I believe, even when he's saying dumb stuff, I believe that I'm looking at Dana and not an actor. Like, it's so genuine. His shit is palpable. It's great.
Yeah, they did a very good job at not letting him go completely off the rails. We see, like we said, we kind of touched on it earlier. There's this characters in every single one of these movies that we watch, and they're rarely this actually funny.
Yeah,
and they're rarely this actually, like endearing. Like I actually like Dana. Not just like he made me laugh the most. He did, but I also like him.
If I were to describe this movie, it'd be Superbad mixed with The Exorcist, and he does remind me here of Jonah Hill and Superbad, and that he commits to this character, and he does. I think he does it justice.
Yeah, this is the Superbad Exorcists.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, Joe Buckley,
you're right there. You got it. Demon boy Rufus says some demon shit, and Dana passes out. It's a very weird pass out. He kind of starts falling, and then we see him. The cut is weird, and then what happens immediately afterwards is also a little weird. It felt like maybe there was something missing. Maybe something couldn't get shot. I don't know, because
they probably didn't have a mattress on the ground from the fall onto.
No, not even just that.
Are you talking about the POV stuff, you mean?
Yeah, so what happens for anybody that hasn't watched this yet is Dana falls down, passes out, and then it's like a fade or a cut to black, and then we see a POV, like found footage, like a Blair Witch, like camcorder footage of him running away out of the barn with Matt. Like there's a scene missing or something.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I'm having such a good time. I don't care. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm serious. It doesn't, I don't give a shit.
Same.
You got enough going right here. Little editing. It happens. But yeah, so the boys kind of stop and Matt says, hey, whoa, hey, chill out there. They're freaking out and they're trying to get a plan together. Matt's trying to calm Dana down. Dana's still fucked up about this whole thing. He's mumbling and screaming. He says something about finding a hammer in his backyard. Like, what are we gonna do? I found a hammer in my backyard. We gotta go back and get my bike and come back over here. He's completely insane at this point.
Yeah, which is rational.
Matt is only mildly concerned, and he's like, "What? I mean, yeah, this is scary, but like, what happened in there?" Because Dana passed out, hit his head, and he says he just really hates demons. So then we go back to Vanessa is her name, is that right? Charlie's girlfriend?
Yeah,
Yes.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Vanessa, they're back at Vanessa's house. Charlie's helping decorate out on the porch. He's putting some streamers up and lights, whatever. When Chuck arrives, a tall, blonde
Ooh, Chuck.
shithead, if I ever seen one.
No,
shows
handsome.
No,
His haircut's
handsome
rough, though.
shithead.
He's got a bad haircut.
Yeah.
I
He's
couldn't get past his haircut.
He's a fuck boy.
He's the bad guy in every 80s movie. He's the blonde bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's got his dad's car and his fucking jet ski or something. I don't know.
Yep, and he's gonna smooch
He's Johnny
your babe.
Lawrence.
And
He's
to
Johnny
make-
Lawrence from
yeah.
Cobra Kai.
And to
Yeah,
make
there
matters
you go.
worse, they also throw the wrench in there that he's also a great filmmaker. He's not just like a jock type.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
he's an award-winning filmmaker, and now he's going to be the judge. I was like, no.
I know.
He can't have it all.
So Chuck,
Ryan, he can't have it all.
He's
Chuck
handsome,
arrives and
ripped, and he's a great director.
Ryan,
No.
snap out of it.
You gotta,
Ryan-
you can't be a great director. You gotta look like cute Quentin if
Ryan's
you're a
having
great director.
flashbacks. Something's going on right
Yeah.
now.
It's been a long day.
Ryan had a rough day.
Ryan, were you bullied at work?
No, but off recording, I'll tell you the stresses of the last couple of days.
Oh,
Great.
It
Now we got
involves-
homework, folks at home.
It involves Joe Buckley and one of his favorite hobbies.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
but-
okay.
Oh,
Um,
Ryan's dick don't work.
No,
Exactly.
no.
I got a balloon in it now. You got to blow it up.
oh, gee, he's got a crank he's got to put in there. And,
I actually have to hire a clown to come by because they're the only ones that are allowed to have the
yeah,
proper
but they only got
equipment.
the whole, helium one, so then Ryan just gets his whole night.
just
is-
float.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
then he
gets
accidentally
weird.
tied it into a little dog.
Yep,
I see Joe's mom and I just start floating.
yep. God forbid he got to go anywhere. Yeah. Anyway, Vanessa is like, "Oh God, Chuck is here! Hooray!" I don't know. She's clearly into Chuck and hates Charlie. She introduces them, and Chuck says, "Charlie, hey, that used to be my name before I turned 12." And she and Chuck and Vanessa just laugh and laugh and laugh. Charlie's not having this, but Chuck assures Charlie, "Hey, I'm just kidding." And for the first time, he finger guns Charlie.
This is my favorite goof throughout
I
the
think
entire movie. The
this is
way
a very
that
good
Charlie
one.
reaches up like he just got shot is so funny to me. I watched it like 3 or 4 times, and I love this goof for whatever reason.
No,
It's great.
there's good reason. It's a well executed
Yeah,
story throughout the whole movie, and
I love it.
because
I love
everybody
it.
reacts poorly to being
Yeah.
finger gunned, and I think it's like what they're trying to say is in this world, finger gunning is weird. It's almost like it's the first time it's ever been done, and it's like it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Why would you
Yeah.
do that? Why would you want to shoot me?
I loved
Do you
it.
want me- do you want to kill me? Why would you do that?
I loved it so much.
It was
Um,
good.
But yeah, Vanessa gives Charlie a list of chores to do and takes Chuck inside, and he finger guns again. And then Charlie immediately starts texting the boys.
Yeah.
And we cut back to the boys back on the ranch, and Matt tells Dana that or whatever they are, but Matt tells Dana that Chuck is in town and that he is a Fear Fest judge this year. He won last year, and now he's a judge. That's a thing that happens apparently.
Horseshit.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Ryan's got some feelings about it. They decide to go crash Vanessa's party. Oh yeah, he's like, we gotta go. Matt said, we gotta go. We gotta get over to Vanessa's party. And Dana asks, are we invited? Can we just go? And Matt says, we have to go. We're supposed to be there. And besides, maybe our invites were lost in the mail. And Dana says, yeah, my mailman's a dumbass. Which I laughed so hard at that the first
Yeah.
time I watched it, I didn't hear the not as funny, but still funny
Right.
ADR line after that, the button, which was like, I already have a dad or something.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, yeah, that's still funny.
Yeah, and it's like what Tyler was saying about the world building comedy. That line made my brain spike. I'm like,
That's
why
a
is this
whole world.
mailman
That's a
acting like his
spin-off.
dad? Does he have a dad? Does he? I'm like, it made me
Yeah.
start thinking about all this shit. This throwaway line made me start thinking about the world of Dana, and
Yeah.
that's great.
How
you know?
handsome
Yeah.
is the mailman?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is Chuck the mailman?
Which is why it's really disappointing to learn that this director really hasn't done anything of his own since then. It really there's some talent here. Like there's some real talent.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs a strong co-writer because it seems like he has a really good handle on structure and like how to like kind of pepper this stuff in throughout the movie. It's just give us some slightly more compelling characters overall.
Yeah, and
it
he's
would go a
got
long
good
way.
restraint. He shows good restraint.
Yes, good
as
restraint.
Well.
Yeah,
Which is
because there is all these little tiny bits and bops of hee hee ho ho, where we would see that stop. We would see that like drag a movie down, or a scene would stop. And
like the finger gun thing's a perfect example where in a
Yes.
lesser movie, the guy, he might have made a big deal of getting shot, or the second time he gets shot, like right after it, he would have done the same goof.
Oh,
And instead,
if I
you
had
know what I
made
mean?
this movie, somebody would have literally gotten shot with those guns, and it would have.
Oh yeah, it was somewhat.
Right.
A big
Joe would have
squib
been
in the
killed.
chest.
Yeah, he would have. He would look like Sonny Corleone at the end.
Yeah. Look how they massacred my bubby.
But like the subtlety of this it just goes so
Yes.
much further.
Yes.
That was
I
a
like
good joke.
how a lot of
Hey
these.
Joe, do your
a lot of-
Brando.
Yeah.
Look how they massacred my bubby.
Joe,
Well, he's got like dentures, so you have to pull out
He
your
doesn't have
chin a little
dentures.
bit.
He has marbles.
No, in Marlon Brando had dentures in the film.
No,
He had.
well, I don't know if
He
he's
played the
dentures, but he,
character,
but,
yes.
like he packed.
yeah, it was-
mothballs or whatever,
Yeah.
not mothballs. What the
Well,
fuck are they
in
called?
in
fucking
the
jawbreakers.
in the
I don't know.
offer, he takes Kleenex and jams them in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. That's
Yeah,
the old story
that was
that he
it.
did when he was trying to sell it. I don't know what they actually used in the movie.
Cotton balls. That's what I was gonna say.
You know,
Joe's just picturing Marlon Brando walking down to the clown store to get big clown teeth.
Yeah. Brando's
and also
famous
every
clown
single
teeth.
every impression Joe's ever done
an offer you can't.
is
They're all
it's
the
that
same.
voice.
They're all,
It's that one voice. It's like Joe, do Tom Cruise. I get a need for speed. Hey, Joe Buckley, do Jim Carrey. You smoking. You know, it's the same voice.
Smoking.
Somebody spank me.
Okay.
See?
That was
Stop
in
me.
the mask, I think.
It stopped me.
Yeah.
Ah,
Somebody
I thought
stop me. That's
spanked
somebody spank me. Well, there's a new bit for you fans.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a real red blanket right there.
Yes, it is.
So imagine if we get Joe on Cameo. Look at all the impersonations he can
Yeah.
do for you.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah.
I can do so many. I can do Scooby Doo. Like, give me a Scooby snack. Hand it over.
Classic
You
Scooby.
know.
Yeah.
Over, you
Sounds
asshole.
just like
He's got a
Scooby
gun.
snack.
He's holding the gun to Velma. Come on. I know they're in there.
You know, the 95% of what people would ask for if Joe was on Cameo would be him talking about jism. It'd be him going, yeah. That'd be the
Yeah.
majority of it.
Uh-huh.
He'd have to make a minute out of that.
Good.
No.
Let's milk this cash
Happy
cow
birthday,
dry.
Jonathan. I'm shooting rope for you on your birthday. I'm shooting rope.
All right, stop.
Stop laughing, Ryan.
Ryan enjoys it.
Tyler, mute the boy. I have to talk about our
Okay.
friends. Just for a moment.
Damn it.
Look at him. He understands. No, I understand. Mailman's a dumbass. Oh yeah, they decided to leave Rufus chained up because he's not hurting anybody. They just
Yeah, that seems
fucking
like a
leave.
good place for him.
Yeah. And Matt's like, hey, can I use your phone? I love this bit. He asked Dana for his phone, so he's, oh yeah, thanks. Who are you calling? Oh, your mom for a ride. He calls Dana's mom for a ride with Dana's phone. I don't know. It's funny.
It's good.
At the party, Vanessa is complaining that the party sucks. There's a bunch of weird randos filing in, and she's complaining to Charlie, and he's like, do you think this is my fault because of what? The decorations? How is this my problem? She leaves in a huff, and so does Charlie. But then as they both leave, we see that Lisa has entered the party as well, and she is not looking great. Outside the house, Dana's mom drops the boys off at the party. There's a couple people, I think, puking. A few people are making out.
When does his mom's car get puked on?
That's
That's
right
the
after.
scene.
That's right now.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah,
no,
because that was a
it's-
great bit. I love
Oh,
it.
yeah. So Matt and Dana are walking in. Matt goes through like the gate, and Dana stops and turns around and very seriously says, "Don't wait up for me. and to his mom and turns back and goes and follows Matt. And then it's this part right when he like clears frame from the other view of the car. We see somebody walk past and barf all over the hood.
Go away, Mom! You're embarrassing me.
Yeah,
it's like way in the back. There's shit happening in the foreground, but it's so well framed that you get the whole story,
and it's timed well. It's very funny.
It is so well done.
It's unfortunate how funny this movie is and how well made it was.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, listen, only unfortunate because we didn't make it. I want to be funny like them. What the hell?
Yeah, this is the type of movie you watch when you want to feel nostalgic about making movies.
No kidding. We got to find more of these. We'll actually do another one. Matt goes to... they go inside. Matt's like, listen, if people are dancing, don't do that weird staring thing that you do. And Dana does not know what he means, but we all do. As soon as he enters the room, because Dana's just wide-eyed, bug-eyed, just staring and staring and staring, and we don't see for a while that there's a couple of girls like dancing on the table. He's just mesmerized by them. Matt goes off to find Chuck, and Dana's just like staring at these dancing girls. Matt finds Chuck, who only knows them because Dana shit his pants at the zoo. Which Matt corrects him. No, he just clogged the toilet, but it doesn't matter. They bullshit a little bit. It's clearly not going well. Matt's trying to get buddy with him. It's not really working. During the conversation, Chuck reveals that the deadline for Fear Fest submissions is Sunday night, as in 48 hours from right now. And they think it's like next weekend. So this is a bad bit of news. And I believe that is where Joe picks up.
Yeah.
Buck in the house. Buckle
in.
So Charlie finds Lisa on the porch, and she tells him that she was too sick to make it to film.
For the audience at home, Joe's body structure hasn't changed an inch from him listening to us to him reading his own notes.
Oh, no.
Joe came prepared. Everything was laid out. Now Joe is like the mummy, just laid back.
I'm just wrapped up a little bit. They sucked my brains out my nose.
All right, shit in common, go.
Mm-hmm. So,
got me.
Yeah. So Dana talks to a girl outside and mentions that he just got back from an exorcism, and she thinks that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the hint and stares off into space. He says sorry about all the... who is this? Matt or Charlie? No, Charlie. I write he. So Charlie says sorry about all the voicemails he left. But luckily for him, she hasn't seen them. She says that her friends have changed since she left, and she's going to miss them. She asks if Charlie misses people to razz him about the voicemails, but then she goes in for a smooch. He's too nervous and asks if she had fish for dinner, and then says that he ate chicken.
No, he didn't eat. He didn't. I don't want to stop you, but in the interest of Malevolent movies lore, it wasn't that he just ate chicken. He had a chicken pot pie.
Hey,
yes.
Oh, so there you go.
Marie
there
calendar.
You go.
I will not sleep until she sponsors us.
I
don't care how many years it takes.
Crawls out of the ground.
We're gonna be the first. I mean, I'm willing to bet that she's never sponsored a
Is she still
YouTube
alive?
channel or podcast. I don't know. Probably not.
Is she
Whoever
an
is in
actual
charge.
being?
I think she was.
Know.
I think
is she like a Mavis Beacon type?
I think she was real at one point, but then now she's been.
Because on the West Coast, they actually have Marie Calendar restaurants, right?
They
Yeah,
do. I didn't know that.
Is she like a Colonel Sanders, where she has
I think she's
transcended?
real.
It was
'Cause I
founded
read
by
the-
Don Calendar, and he was the co-founder with Marie.
There you go.
Who's got the last name Calendar? That's stupid.
Who's got the last name Buckley?
Yeah.
Those are fucking
No, that's the
weird.
last name.
Those in glass trousers shouldn't throw kidney stones, Joe. And that's all you're doing is throwing fucking kidney
Yeah.
stones.
Okay.
Stop trying to. You're gonna cut your little pecker off with your glass trousers.
I understand. I understand.
Buckley.
Everybody's getting you, Joe, because indeed your pecker is small.
No, it's average size to big. That's
It's
how I would
just
describe
been,
No.
it's been
Average
since
size
Joe's
to
been on the
big.
show. It's just fun.
it. So he
That's
says
talking
that
about your ego.
No.
I'm just done.
By the way, you good?
Lord.
Get a pot pie in there. So she did die, by the way, in November 11th, 1995. So she's
Rest in peace, Marie.
just barely missed it.
Well, hey,
Thanks-
if we
thanks
ever
for
record
everything.
on November 11th, everyone has to wear all black, and we got to eat Murray Calendar.
11/11. That's when the boy from the thing 11/11, right? Isn't that the kid from one of the movies?
Oh, there's two of them.
11/11. He was turning 11 years old. I don't remember
What
which
did we
one it
just
was.
watch?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was Billy, one of the Billies.
Yeah, Billy Stone, maybe.
Billy
No, it was the
Zane.
Magic Billy.
Yeah, you're right. It was the Billy from my movie, Billy.
It was Silly Billy's Trip to Philly.
That was
Great
it.
flick. That's the one.
Anyway, yeah,
That's the
11/11.
one.
So he says that he's dating Vanessa, and Lisa's disgusted. So he walks off, and then suddenly she sees the shadow demon in the lake. And then the girl from the ring pops up and scares her. She goes inside and hears whispered chanting. When a title card pops up that says, Stage 3, Fever Grows. Dana is still talking to the girl outside, and she says that she doesn't dance because her church group said no. She says she loves abstinence, and Dana tells her that he's a big fan as well. She says that she's passing out stainless steel condoms that you can't open. But Dana says that if they can't open them, then the teenagers will just hit it raw. He says that he's...
That's
Well, it's not
raw.
exactly in there,
God.
but...
Just
They'll
hit
just
it
shove
raw.
it in there. A raw dog. Until they come.
So,
So I
he
do
says-
want to say, this fucking scene makes me now want a Dana movie where it's just him in the dating pool. I want to watch him on dates. I want to watch him flirt because you see him get a little bit of confidence
Yeah.
from this
Yeah.
girl because
His
the girl's
mojo.
obviously and
not,
he's when,
and he's
when he-
not screwing this up.
no, and his response is it's weirdly cool. He's
Yeah.
weirdly cool in this.
Well, and it's
Like,
weird because sex is off the table. So he
Yeah.
can just communicate with her instead of being worried about having sex because he is not by choice abstinent, but still sex is off the table. So he can just talk
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
That's what Joe needs to do. Since sex
See,
will always be
Yeah,
off
Joe,
the
take
table.
sex off the table.
No,
On account of
sex
your
is on the
very
table.
small
Sex is on the table.
Joe,
ugh.
you got to buy a table first.
Yeah. Well, we all know what Joe does
Yeah,
to tables.
test
He
the
breaks
strength
them.
of the table too.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
that's
It's like a
probably not a bad
500-pound
idea.
weight limit.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Just in
You
case.
act like you didn't break a table, Joe. You act like this is just a random joke. You broke a fucking table, okay?
I
remember that?
accidentally
You
broke
did it. Your
yes,
weight broke a
sometimes
table.
sometimes people
Intention
accidentally
doesn't
break
matter,
things.
Joe.
I know sometimes things accidentally get broken. It happens.
Yeah.
Yep, and then your good buddy has to spend $300 on a table when we were already over budget.
Well, I am sorry about that. I did not mean to break the table.
Yeah.
So he says that he's only joking, and she says he's really funny. Matt comes up to him, and they leave to go find Lisa. But it's
Really
revealed
funny.
that the mystery girl is also named Dana.
Yeah. That's fun a little bit.
It's a
Dana
joke.
sees Vanessa, and she's disgusted that a fat is at her party. And then he goes in for a bear hug.
Well, there's precedent. She told Charlie that she specifically didn't want Dana there. It's not because a fat has showed up. It's because Charlie is buffoonish. He's probably a little loud, a little
Okay.
Buckley-esque. Probably
He does a
walks in and the
staring
first thing
thing.
he says is, "Hey, just got done jerking off to my sister's big fat tits."
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of is because he's staring at these girls dancing.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do that weird. Hey, if there's somebody's dancing, don't fucking stare at them all night long.
Yeah.
His best
Don't-
friend says to him.
Uh-huh.
Don't go up to the table with the concessions and the refreshments on it and say, "Hey, where can I get mommy's milkies?"
yeah, mommy milk.
Ugh. He wants it. He wants
Damn
it.
He
Yeah.
does. You fucking freak.
So, Lisa is in a room alone at the party, and the drunk girl comes up to her thinking she needs to vomit. She looks up and has scary demon eyes, but the drunk doesn't notice that anything's wrong. Lisa grabs at her throat to strangle her, but the boys open the door just in time to snap her back to herself. The drunk lies down on the floor and wants to order pizza.
We cut to Matt and Dana. They are running down the road. They stop. They're talking about how possessed Lisa is. They crack a couple decent jokes. Swine flu reference. Dana spits on the ground, and then they plan on stealing Dana's mom's car. They take off in the car. There's a lot of this. So in these movies that we watch, there's lots of like cutting between two different things, multiple things. But something that they do that I really like in this movie is that they'll stick with a plot thread until you get there, even if it's quick. So they're talking about the thing. They take the car. We see the car going down the road. Then we cut to an exterior of Charlie's house because they got to get Charlie. And you hear these two bumbling buffoons talking as they're breaking into the house. And then we just cut to Charlie getting splashed in the face with water. And it's great. It just keeps things moving. But anyways, they splash water in Charlie's face. They wake him up. And Matt and Dana are very upset because they're doing like this Laurel and Hardy bit where they each take turns describing how possessed Lisa is. And they're going on top of each other. And I didn't write down the specific thing that Dana says, but he says something about like how it's inside of her and filled her up.
It's inside her and it's fill her up.
Yeah.
But it's a good bit.
Yeah. That bit was in the trailer. That's
Yep.
Yeah,
that's as far as I watched. I got to there and I cast my vote as this. We should watch this one.
But they realized that they probably unintentionally did this to her during their previous video shoot. And then they give him Charlie a hard time about his bad girlfriend and how she won't show him her tots. They keep calling them tots. That comes back. Anyways, Dana says they should get his priest uncle to help out because maybe he might know something. You know, they're in over their head, basically. So next morning, we're at a Catholic church. They're meeting with his uncle. And Dana's uncle is basically saying that he doesn't buy into the exorcism thing. And he's like, maybe she just didn't have her makeup on. But Psych actually is fucking with him. He totally believes in possession and exorcism. They keep doing this bait and switch stuff with the church that I don't quite understand, but it's funny. But he basically is like, they're just like, well, what do we need? What do we need? What do we do? And he's like, it's all pomp and circumstance. You get your costumes, you get your props. It's about the showmanship. And so he says, you know what? Actually, guys, I will help out. Let me check her out. So the trio leave the church, and Charlie continues to be a wet blanket. He calls out Matt for only thinking about the film festival, not really caring about anything else. While in the same breath, he's like still not really believing Lisa in that. So it's like, fine, whatever. But they realize that the festival's tomorrow. It's not next weekend. Oh no. And Matt's basically like, we got to steal more shit from Sister Helen. And Charlie says, you know what? I'm not interested. It's my girlfriend's birthday. I got to get that right. He says he quits. And Matt informs him that he really crept the bed on this one, chuckles. So it was funny. It's just really harsh. I don't quite understand it, but it made me laugh. We cut to a very ill but almost zen-looking Lisa. She's being lectured to by her parents, who pretty decent adult performance in this movie, which is a lot of hit and miss. But the dad's going at her really hard about like not throwing parties because they're going away for the weekend. Like, you just like don't fuck up my house, and something about a specific plant. Like, don't fuck this plant up.
Mm-hmm. I swear to God, if you do not water my lilies, I am gonna beat you when I get home.
Yep. Thank you, Joe, for doing a much worse version of it.
Okay.
But anyways, for some reason they go on this riff about wanting to surprise her with takeout food. Like they're just going to order food.
Oh yeah.
It could be Mexican. It could be Chinese food. And they name drop a couple places that come back later. But then her mom, I still don't know if I fully understand this. Her mom sits next to her. Kind of, it looks like a knockoff naked drink, but it's like a superfood beverage shake of some kind.
Yeah.
And it's green.
Just green shit.
And so, like, I assumed, it must be, let me pause this, look closely. It must be like peas, because Exorcist, peas,
pea soup and all
but
that.
it's like a kiwi on it. And so, I don't know. I'm just a little confused. I don't know if when we get there, somebody could fill it in the blank for me. But then we do some more great physical humor. And like camera humor, we just cut to a medium to wide shot of like 3 trees on a street light lit street, and you can clearly see the legs of Dana and Matt in 2 separate trees. Like they're like tucked up into the branches, so you can't really see them, but you just see their legs. It's a great thing, and you hear these 2 idiots talking to each other at full volume. It's excellent. They have another bit where Dana is wearing a bandana. Matt's giving him a hard time. Dana's like taking it off. He sneezes into it, puts it back on. Everybody's grossed out. And then they break into Sister Helen's place. We cut back to Lisa. She's sweating up a storm. Her legs, she's like grabbing her legs. I couldn't tell if we're just emphasizing that like everything is greasy and covered in slime, or if like they were trying to say like her legs hurt too. I couldn't tell. But anyways, she starts to panic and she texts Charlie. And Charlie's at home in his bedroom wrapping up Vanessa's gift. And he gets a text from Vanessa saying, asking if he's up. And then she says, my body is on fire. I'm soaking wet. Oh my gosh, what could this mean? So he thinks she's goofing with him.
Laughed out loud on this.
And he says, ha ha ha, okay. And then she fires back immediately, come over now. And so he thinks he's getting some sex, and he throws his girlfriend's gift on the floor. You hear like a little pottery blade.
I love it. Yeah. I love the way he throws the gift. I love the way he gets out of the bed. Like, I love it.
That's great.
He does the eyes again from earlier. Yeah. It's so good.
Because it's funny because we know what's going on because we're the audience. We know she's a demon, but I'm also looking at it from his perspective from that moment. He's sitting there, he's feeling shitty, he's got the bad girlfriend, he's arguing with his best friends, and then he gets this fucking kind of fantasy text, and his response is just like, oh. I don't know, it's just fantastic. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you ever get any fantasy texts?
Nah. You always get those fantasy texts.
Ziegler, there's a dungeon that needs I don't know. I got nothing.
The fantasy text.
You started a bit without knowing where that ended.
Mr. Ziegler, there's a dragon that needs flaying, please.
No, I get text from
King
Joe.
Candy from fucking Wreck-It Ralph.
He's like, I've got an MRE that needs splitting.
God damn it, Zach.
All right. So obviously panicked at the possibility of sexting with Lisa. Charlie immediately does the first thing all of us would do in this scenario and calls up his chubby friend.
Get the boys.
Oh yeah. Get the brain trust.
Except he calls specifically Dana.
Yeah.
Who we've established many times over is not great.
Yeah.
Well, he did all right with other Dana.
Yeah,
well, that's true. As far as Charlie knows,
yeah, it was smooth.
And
that's who knows if Charlie's been there.
True. And so we're in what's her name's house? What's the
Vanessa?
No, they're
Lisa.
No, they're inside of whose house?
Oh,
the nun,
Sister
right?
Helen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, didn't clarify anything. But we're back. Dana's in there. He's just like opening jars, checks the water pressure when he gets the call. And he doesn't believe Charlie. He's like, I'm not supposed to be talking to you, Charlie. And he's like, dude, I'm sexting right now. He's like, the fuck out of here for real.
Dude,
and
we both can nut.
We can do it right now if you tell me what she's texting you.
Yeah, show me the text.
Meanwhile, we get back to Lisa, who's hearing noises and she's panicking, and she accidentally takes a picture and sends a picture of her legs to Charlie. And he's like, oh my God, she's sending me her sexy legs, Dana. And he's like, he's like, I gotta send one back. Never make that noise ever again in my presence, please.
Yeah, same.
I ate dinner a while ago. I'd like to keep it down.
You guys don't want to come? Okay.
Right
Joe's the only person on earth that his death sound was the same as his cum sound.
Oh God.
You guys ever seen videos of turtles?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That turtle's getting his nut off.
Oh, Jesus.
That's
Joe at the zoo. Yeah, that turtle's getting its nut off. That kangaroo's getting its nut off. Yeah, that elephant's getting its nut off.
No, I went to the zoo.
He's looking in the mirror. That Joe Buckley's getting its nut off.
I went to the zoo a couple weeks ago for my cousin's diaper party, and I did see like a little monkey.
What?
Wait a minute.
Yeah. We went to the St. Louis.
No, it's not. What zoo did you go to? It's what's the fuck is a diaper party?
Well, he's having a kid, so like we had to go bring diapers, and we just got hung out.
So like a baby shower?
Yeah, kind of like a male baby shower, like a cool one.
Like a cool
one. Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah,
we would grown men getting together and having diaper parties.
This is a type of
No, we weren't in the diapers.
Oh,
we gave him a package of diapers because he's going to have a baby soon.
But why is it called? Are you calling it a diaper party, or did they?
No, that was the official name for it. I think it's a thing. I think it's officially a thing.
So it is sort of a thing, but like I think a lot of people do that at a baby shower. I've just never heard of it as a dedicated party. Like it's a good idea. Diapers are expensive. So
yeah.
Why the fuck would you go down to do it at a zoo?
Well, we hung out. No. We hung out there the whole day.
Because the Buckley family tree isn't far from Homo sapien to actual chimp. So this cousin.
I can just see all these lumpy. I'm thinking of all these potato-shaped Buckleys lining up in front of the zoo. They're all holding big boxes of diapers. What a show! The show outside is better than the one in.
No, we spent part of the day at the zoo. We went and ate ribs. We hung out at people's houses. We cooked. We got drunk. We got
You
high.
ate ribs, Joe? Did you eat
At the
ribs?
zoo?
Did you eat ribs? Because you don't like sauce. Did you eat ribs?
I ate ribs.
Sauceless
dry
ribs?
rub?
No, I
Joe-
did. I like
Joe
barbecue
likes-
sauce.
Joe likes
Well, that's
chicken and meat, beef slathered in barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
That is
specifically
true.
barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
he
sauce.
hates all
But
sauces
sauce is bad.
except
No
well,
sauce.
but
No sauce.
barbecue
Please.
sauce is good.
Mm.
All right, let's
Yo.
move on from the
Yes,
from
yeah,
the
I just
big
wanted to air
show.
that.
Here, fellas.
Diaper party. I lost my spot. I was thinking about diapers. So
think about
he
diaper
realizes. So Charlie goes to take like a selfie, and he doesn't know what to send back. So he's just gonna like send her a picture of him, like just a picture of him in the mirror, whole body picture. And he's like, I can't do this. So he feels guilty. So he's like, I gotta go and break up with Vanessa or talk to Vanessa. He doesn't really say what he's doing, but he's like, I gotta go talk to her. So he heads over to Vanessa's house, and the hot tub's running, and she pops up, and she's shirtless. She was holding her breath, and he's like, hey, whoa, what's going on? She's like, you can't see my tots, which was mentioned earlier because I think Dana said like the last scene, he's like, you've never even seen her tots. And so then
like this whole setup was coming 100 miles away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Charlie's the one guy in the group that has the girlfriend. Everybody doesn't like the girlfriend, but there's actual precedent for it. She doesn't even like him. So you can see where this is headed.
exactly. Well, and so then Chuck comes out, and we got Chuck E. Cheese over here holding two different types of cheese. And he's
Zach,
basically
that's
It's
very
not
funny.
literally
Thank
Chuck E.
you.
Cheese.
it's not Chuck
This
E.
is
Cheese.
the man that doesn't have great
Chuck
hair,
from
according to
earlier.
Ryan.
his haircut's
But has
terrible.
everything else Ryan could ever want.
Yeah, he's in a
otherwise he's
Speedo.
handsome. Yeah.
He's got the towel draped around his neck. He's like, come on, get out
And
of
a
here. And
bunch of
Charlie's
cheese.
like, fuck yeah, this is perfect. I don't have to feel guilty. Like he's just been like freed of the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
situation. But then Chuck takes it a little too far, and he starts fucking semi-automatic firing these finger
Yeah.
guns at Charlie over here. Charlie just can't handle it, so he runs over and he puts an end to it. He breaks both of his fingers.
It's
so
great.
It's great. It's great because this joke is now this goof lasted like an hour in the movie, but it's perfect. I loved it.
Well, and Chuck's laying on the ground. My finger guns. My finger guns.
Oh yeah. They're his prized possessions.
yeah,
he knows this is his thing.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
part of his identity.
Yeah.
He also said, he's like, oh, come on, calm down, Charlie. It's just some harmless fornication or harmless. I sound like Joe now. Harmless fornication and cheese.
Yeah,
right
yeah, a
before
little
he
bit
gets
of
his finger
fucking and
guns
cheddar.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny
Oh.
when I
See,
and maybe
Joe
I
knows
was
a couple
That
sex
got
things.
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what maybe I look too much into it, which is common for me. But the fact that the handsome guy that Vanessa really likes, he's into cheese, the fancier cheese, whereas Charlie was the guy
The
sitting there eating
string
string cheese.
cheese.
So I don't know. I kind of
He's the common man.
deep into it, but
Yep, the
No, I think they
proletariat.
set that up.
I think you're
That's
onto
well
something.
Yeah,
earned.
it's-
Good for them.
I was like, oh, he's into the fancy cheese. Okay.
Wow.
It's a cheese plate. God, all these puzzle pieces are just.
I think one of the only
Clicking
downsides
together.
so he does break his fingers and we don't see them broken. They're just like they're stuck
he's-
in gun position.
Oh, yeah.
Like we don't see like they don't
Forever.
look broken or anything. They're just stuck there. So anyway,
It
Charlie's
like
driving
Stephen
away.
Strange at the end.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So he's driving away and he's like, all right, I'm doing it. So he decides to pull over and send Lisa a dick pic. One that I can assume is very poorly lit.
Oh,
He
he's
feels
sitting
her-
down in the driver's
Yeah.
seat of a car.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
never
that
gonna
moves like
look good.
3 inches. Yeah, that's a really bad idea.
You got to get a good angle on it. He couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he could have been hard, but
yeah,
you gotta,
so
you
in
gotta
Joe's
do it
case,
right.
you have to slam the head of it in your dresser drawer and then walk as far back as you possibly
Mhm.
can.
Yeah.
Jesus
you have to go down to the base and just grip. You grip really hard, and that accentuates the
You
tip.
tie a string around it until it turns purple.
Yeah.
Joe has like a Lego banana and he puts it next to his penis and says banana for scale every time he sends a dick pic. He's trying to trick everybody. It doesn't work.
He's like, are you ready for average to big? Average
That's
to big
what when
Buckley.
Joey gets hard, he stands up, he puts his arms at his sides and he goes, I'm going big. And then
I'm going big.
Yeah, I'm big boy now. I'm a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
So
Come on.
I'm a big kid now.
Oh yeah.
At the diaper
that's
party.
the diaper party.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
So
I was not hard at the diaper party. I want to make that clear.
good. Thank you.
Did you guys have
so-
Did you guys have diaper pissing races?
Well, what we did was the host put candy bars in diapers, and we had to like open them
Course
up and
they
guess
did.
what candy bars
What
were in
the
it.
fuck?
'Cause it looked like
you're
poo-poo.
wasting
Is
diapers.
this true?
That's true. That's true.
Couldn't you guys have just looked at monkeys and stuff?
What an awful thing you were just involved in. That sounds like the worst fucking thing.
Okay.
Spread the word
And,
to all the family. That was the dumbest thing ever.
No. We had
was
like
awful.
the bottles full of beer, and whoever could suck out all the beer first won.
That's terrible.
Why?
What a lame fucking time.
Okay.
If you had a good time, it wasn't. It's
You're at the zoo. Look at the animals.
We were only at the zoo for a portion of the day.
yeah, they
Yeah,
were
there's-
wearing diapers
there's
for the
St.
rest
Louis-
of the day.
The St. Louis Zoo closes at like 5. It's awful.
Oh,
Yeah, fuck
awful.
that zoo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that free
And
zoo.
Wanting those
Yeah, fuck
animals to
those
have
animals.
peace from a bunch of grown men who are filled up on barbecue wearing diapers
Uh-huh.
coming in and making a bunch of
pretending to eat-
racket.
And pretend to eat poop. You guys pretended to eat poop.
We didn't eat the candy bars. We just looked at it and like tried
Don't
to guess
fucking
what
shit.
candy
You
bar
know,
it was.
Yeah,
you
don't-
know, you guys ate those
yeah.
candy bars.
We just wanted to look at the shitty diapers.
Uh-huh. You know, I saw
Well,
I
he's
saw
got
a
to get
bear.
used to looking at him.
I saw
Oh,
a
you
bear.
saw
It was
a
like
bear.
it was sitting in like his pool of water, but it was right up next to the glass. I could almost poke it.
Good. Poke that
Whatever.
bear. next
Anyway.
time.
Doesn't defend that
um,
dumb event.
So moving on. So he instantly regrets that dick pic. He's like, what the hell am I doing? Siri,
Wait.
unsend that. And then he drives away. Then we get Lisa finally getting fully possessed. She sits up. Her eyes have like that. I assume it's context, but I didn't look that hard, but it looks good. Is it context or do you think it's a?
There's a certain point later that it looks like it's CG because it kind of wiggles a little bit in a way that
Yeah.
made me think it wasn't rotoscoped right or something.
Sure.
But I don't know if that's like the whole time or what.
I don't know. I mean, it looks good. She's
It
finally
does look-
possessed.
Usually, yeah.
We get the title card. It pops up. It says stage 4 possession. Dana and Matt, they're in the house and they get trapped in the closet because Helen shows up and has a man over.
Oh.
And Dana immediately decides this must be a sex thing. And is like, Matt, we got to get out there. We got to get out there. We got to get involved in this. Otherwise, we're trapped. We have to go have sex. I want to do this. And Matt's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, we're not doing that. We got back to Lisa's house and the Rodrigo's delivery driver shows up to bring Lisa her surprise Mexican food. He keeps saying, hey, Rodrigo's, we bring the fiesta to you. And he like enters the home and then he goes upstairs saying, hey, Rodrigo's, we bring the fiesta to you. Then he gets into the room and he finally says it one more time. And she says, bring the fiesta to me. And then she
Well, if he
assumingly
doesn't
kills.
say it, he won't get the $7.50 for that delivery for the hour.
That's yeah. It's like
And that's the
delivering in
director's
under
cameo
30
as well.
minutes and everything. So she finally kills the Rodrigo's delivery boy with the Wilhelm scream. And we see that father shows up at Lisa's house outside. He like looks around before heading towards the house. We get back to Helen's house where Matt and Dana are still arguing in the closet. And they see that she's actually selling is it Dybbuk box?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dybbuk.
The
Yep.
Dybbuk.
Dybbuk box. And they're like, oh, she's not having sex with this man. She's here. She's selling like old artifacts and stuff. And then the guy decides he's not going to buy the Dybbuk box. And the two decide that they're finally ready to leave this closet. And we cut back to Charlie showing up at Lisa's house. And I do believe that is the.
So Charlie apprehensively enters Lisa's house where she beckons him upstairs. She's in her bed, very Exorcist-like, Linda Blair, hair, possessed. I wouldn't say, so there's this bit where he said he starts apologizing. He's still clueless to the fact that she's demonic. He's like, well, he starts apologizing for accidentally sending her the dick pic. And it was a big mistake. And she says, I wouldn't say big.
She's still in there.
Yeah. It's average to big.
A tiny mistake. A very small mistake.
And then she says, I have a secret. I'm not Lisa. I finished my painting. And then over on the painting, written in blood or red ink or whatever, it says, help me. Chuck then gets the fuck out of there. And he runs back downstairs. And as he runs out the door, he runs into a badly wounded the priest, Dana's uncle, and as well as the dead delivery guy. He then calls up the gang. We cut to the church. The priest and the gang are in the church. The priest is badly wounded, but he's not going to die. They think he's going to die. Matt says he's not. This guy's 95% dead, and he's like, "No, I'll be okay, but I'm not going to fucking go in there. I'm not going to help you guys with that. It was scary." The priest then explains that they probably only have till about midnight to save her soul, which is 3 hours left. Again, another ticking clock. At first it was get the movie made. Now it's save Lisa's soul. Charlie then then they cut to someone's house. And Charlie convinces, I'm not sure whose house it was at this point. They're got a table.
Yeah, there's a lot of cutting around.
Charlie then convinces, he has a nice speech and there's some jokes. And he convinces Matt and Dana to help him. Because they want to get the fuck out of there because they're still scared from seeing Rufus. They know this shit is super real. Dana faints, but but Charlie's like, no, you guys have to help me. We need to save Lisa. So then we get, as Joe mentioned earlier, we get a preparation montage. Super soakers full of holy water. Dana puts on a nun outfit. Matt puts on his priest outfit and his huge cross. Dana makes a peanut butter and banana sandwich. There's a few other goofs with tying their shoes.
I was getting flashbacks to Joe and the nun. Like, I know it's but absolutely. It's just, it felt exactly like when we put Joe in the nun outfit.
Yeah.
Time.
Except I was laughing at Dana.
People laughed at me in the nun outfit.
I mean,
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Back to Lisa's house. They enter her room. It's a nice slow motion bit too. They come running. It's an action beat. They come running in slow motion, banging through the door with confidence, up the fucking stairs, into the room. They have less than 2 hours. Lisa at this point is kind of unconscious. She's laying in the bed. She's making a lot of noises, grunts and groans. Still possessed, but she's kind of unconscious. So the fellas start setting up the room for the exorcism. They light some candles. Matt starts reading from the exorcism book. Lisa wakes up and starts talking for a demon-possessed girl, some very mild shit. The shit she's saying to them, very mild. Mildly offensive. Not that bad. Dana takes offense at it. He's like, those are my friends you're talking to. But she's saying you guys are bitches and stuff like that. But Dana's taking it super seriously. Dana starts pumping himself up. He's like, I can do it, guys. And then he yells, here comes Dana. And he takes the super soaker and starts spraying holy water all over Lisa. Then he runs over with the rosary beads. He's got some rosary beads. He places it on her head. This is supposed to suck the demon out of her, but it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because they're Mardi Gras beads. They're not real rosaries. Dana's mother just likes to travel. And this is also in the trailer, so if you watch the trailer, you'll see this bit.
Yep. Just like Joe's mom. Well-traveled.
Yeah, she likes margarita beads.
Margarita beads?
Yeah, margarita beads.
You mean Mardi Gras?
Well, the same thing.
No,
you have a bunch of...
it is not the same thing.
Yeah, you have a bunch of martinis
they
there.
They sound the same.
Well, okay,
I'll
now it's
give you that
martinis.
they sound the same.
Is it a margarita, Mardi Gras, or martini?
It's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Everything's a
Jesus,
circle.
Joe.
Everything's a circle.
You guys want to hear me make mud in my diaper?
Let's chug beer out of bottles.
It's candy bars.
I got Baby Ruth in my pants.
I mean Baby Ruth. Those aren't Baby Ruths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you do have a little tiny dick.
Excuse me again. I really hate to keep mentioning this, but it's average too big.
Yeah, is that so, you baby genius?
Oh, diaper gravy. Diaper gravy, Joe. God, do you have any pictures of this get-together you had, Joe?
I
you guys all like posed together?
I got some pictures at the zoo, but mostly just the animals.
It's a picture of you and the guys.
No, I don't think so.
Dick.
Maybe people took some, but I didn't think they.
Well, I'm sure people were taking pictures, but they're strangers and they're sending them to their friends. Anyway, they're Mardi Gras. So the demon isn't sucked out of Lisa because he's got martini beads instead of the rosary. So then Lisa uses some demon magic to pin Dana up against the wall. And Matt and Charlie are like, well, we need to kind of regroup. And they leave. They go into the stairwell. And they leave Dana, poor Dana, like trapped up against the wall with the demon magic.
Yeah, they do the same from the Exorcist with the two priests on the stairs. Just kind of talking in between the exorcism.
Fair.
And exactly. And So then Matt, they leave her on the staircase regroup. Lisa then begins, she's kind of talking shit, and Dana's up against the wall, and he's like, oh, and she then grabs the superfood that was left by her mother, the green stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Starts drinking it. And Dana's like, no, don't drink that. Don't drink that. Don't do it. And of course, as you expect, she pukes the green shit all over Dana. Cut back to the staircase, and there's some dialogue between Matt and Charlie. Why didn't it work? And he makes a Jewish joke, and he's like, "Oh, ha ha, funny." And Charlie's like, "No, that's actually why this didn't work. Lisa's half Jewish. We need the Dybbuk box. We need a Jewish exorcism. We're doing a Catholic exorcism."
Was that set up at all, the Jewish part?
I think she does one line about how she's like half Jewish.
Okay, because I couldn't remember if that was set up.
I couldn't remember either.
She does mention it early on at one point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
For a movie so well set up, I was a little shocked when that came out. I'm like, what?
But yeah, so they decide, okay, we need to go get that Dybbuk box. And Matt, of course, goes, well, hey, Sister Helen has one. It's in her bedroom. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Cut to Sister Helen's house. She's laying in bed. She's asleep. She's got a sleep mask on. She's mumbling stuff to herself and, talking about, oh, that's sacrilege. I don't know. But Matt
Ryan was getting all hot and bothered immediately.
Yeah.
I was hoping there'd be some more shenanigans. I was hoping maybe she would reach up in her stupor and kiss Matt on the mouth, and he'd have to fucking go with it because he needs that key, because she's got the key around her neck for the Dybbuk box. That would be the perfect thing, because they have the very contentious relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, straight out of Porky's, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so he needs to get the key to the Dybbuk box, and it's around her neck, and that's where my scene ends.
Certainly.
Wrap this diaper party up.
Hell yeah. So Matt gets Matt's standing over Helen. He gets the key, he gets the Dybbuk box, he's got it hoisted, and then he's remembering all the times that Charlie and the gang have basically just given him shit for being like stealing stuff from Sister Helen, just being a bad friend in general, including the line where he says, "Well, what am I gonna put it on my library card?" And he says, "God damn it!" And he slaps his library card down on her nightstand. He picks the Dybbuk box back up, and he's on his way. Back in the house, Dana collapses into the hallway, covered in now hardened, naked superfood, whatever drink. It looks disgusting. It's clearly hard and gross.
Yeah, that's the thing
point.
I didn't get. Why is it hard?
I don't know.
Maybe enough time's passed where it's solidified.
Solidified. Like next to those tortillas.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes if the tortillas don't mix well in your belly,
they
solidify.
Yeah.
Solidified, and then you got a hard poopy.
That's right.
Is there a test that Joe could take?
Certainly.
Like Joe, Joe's not stupid, and Joe is fully capable of, if he had time and preferably a pen and paper, to write some very well thought out ideas. But fuck, man, on the spot. You haven't, but like, you need to listen back to fucking Vampires Suck.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't got to that
I'm having a fucking meltdown trying to understand you, man.
Okay.
I just can't understand you sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for good podcasting, though.
Listen, all these bits, these are fun.
Good pods.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we get some good pod material.
You want to cast a good pod these days. Excuse me. Dana collapses into the hallway covered in the demon slime, superfood, whatever. Charlie enters the room, and Lisa is like growling and snapping her jaws at him as he's flipping through the exorcism book. And then outside we see Matt like struggling he's like doing this waddle run because he's carrying this giant trunk and he's like walked or run across town. I don't know. And he's like, oh my God, my arms. He makes it upside, he makes it inside, upstairs, upside. Come on now. See, Joe, I do it too.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. Matt starts...
We like Trevor, though.
Yeah.
Well,
that's okay, Trevor. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, we still love you, Trevor.
Fellas. No,
At least you didn't go to a zoo with a bunch of men wearing diapers filled with candy bars.
That's true.
We were not wearing the diapers. The diapers are for the baby that he's going to have.
Babies can't wear adult diapers, Joe.
They are not adult diapers. They are baby-sized diapers.
So wait a minute. These diapers were they what is the word? They soiled these diapers, for lack of a better term, by putting their fucking grubby hands all over it just to put a candy bar in it. Now they expect the baby to wear it when it's born. That's not sanitary.
No. Those diapers got thrown away. It was like 6 to 8
What a
diapers
fucking
full of
waste! The
candy.
whole point was to get diapers.
There
They
was a
got
couple
hundreds
prop
of
diapers.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I get
I
it.
hate it. I hate the whole thing.
I know. Matt is upstairs with Charlie, and he starts, I wrote, freestyling a Jewish exorcism. Because I didn't know what else to say. He's just going,
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
By the powers vested in Rabbi comedy Jewish name. I don't know. I can't remember any of them. But Charlie remembers that Lisa is only half Jewish. So they, in fact, need the other half as well. The Christian / Catholic ritual I wrote down. But then Dana stands tall and quickly runs through the prayers and is like screaming it very quickly. The power of Christ compels you, yada yada yada. And he says whatever, ending with "I command you." And Matt and Charlie are like so happy, stunned, like looking at each other, and then they look back to Dana, and all three of them yell together, "Get in the box!" And it does, and the effect is pretty cool. It goes black, and then it's the same shot of the two boys holding this big box open, and there's like all this light being sucked into the box. It looked great.
Yeah, like a reverse Raiders.
They must have used
actually.
Igor, or what was the name of the guy who did the effects on Butcher?
Yeah,
Igor.
Yeah, they probably called him up.
Yeah,
no, the few times they go with digital effects, they pull stuff off.
They're very simple and they work really well.
It's a movie that there's no aspect of this movie that the budget couldn't hold. And that is
how big
really
it is.
hard for these movies that we watch, where they're whether it's they have $10, $10,000, $10 million, they're always overshooting their budget. And these guys, Kyle, you killed it, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was nothing in here that didn't look just like great, just perfect. I mean,
yeah, I just found their old Kickstarter.
I was just literally
nice.
just looking at it. And the top of the thing says, "Imagine the boys of Superbad stuck inside the Exorcist."
That's a good pitch, log line.
They raised almost 22,000.
Jesus.
That's so cheap. There's no way that this whole movie was funded by that, though. I can't believe that. Like, if it is,
there's not a lot of actors in it.
It's kind of similar, kind of like similar production level of like Butcher, and we were able to do that.
Actually, I'm reading it right now. This campaign was after they'd already filmed it.
Okay.
So this was finishing funds.
Oh, wow.
That makes sense.
This was finishing funds. They said that their production value, they've exceeded.
Those are some good finishing funds.
Yeah.
Nice work, fellas.
Fuck, that's
that's
starting,
gathering
middle,
right
and
now.
ending funds for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they were seeking 20,000 for color correction, sound design, music composition, and visual effects.
It was put to good use.
Absolutely.
Do another one, Kyle. Do another one.
Please.
We will pitch to it.
Yeah. If you need 7
Absolutely.
idiots to die in your movie.
Yes.
Here we
Yeah,
are.
we'll go anywhere.
Give us what we
Tell us,
want.
and we'll show up. Yeah.
If you need a line.
Joe will show up in diapers. It'll be great.
Yeah. I'll make this a diaper party for everybody.
Oh, boy.
For everybody. That's a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be putting you in diapers, and you will not resist the diapers.
Yeah. Under any circumstances.
You will not resist the diapers. Jesus.
You will not resistance to the diapers is futile.
Yeah, and you are not going to the bathroom outside the diapers. You will poop in the diapers, and you will make wee-wee in the diapers.
Please
Joe
don't
just
go to the bathroom
demonstrated
outside the
Wild
diaper.
sentence. I know what you mean.
Joe just demonstrated what bad Exorcists didn't do.
Yeah.
They didn't beat the shit out of the joke. You got the good joke, and then they let it lie.
Even
Joe
if
just
it's only a
proved.
taste of it, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. So anyway, yeah, so it gets in the box. They did it. They did it. The lighting is back to normal. Lisa is asleep, but looks, like her normal self, just asleep. And Matt reveals that he filmed the whole thing. He says, "This is going to look great on the big screen." And he pulls the camera out, and Charlie goes, "Matt," essentially. But it's corny, but it's who cares? It's fun. Good Lord, Tyler's passing away here.
sorry.
It happens. It's fine. Then we cut to however many weeks away. It's Fear Fest. They're all piling into what looks like Theater 2 at the Roxy with a few new lights in it.
Yep.
Some new chairs. It looks exactly like Theater 2.
It is very similar.
Yeah. Charlie and Lisa sit together, but they leave early. He does the whole Pee-wee. I don't need to see this, Dottie. I lived it. The boys are announced as the winner. Or sorry, our Exorcism film is announced as the winner.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like he doesn't say, and the Exorcism film by Dana, Charlie, and Matt, the three friends. Just our Exorcism. It was weird, but
so that's the name they gave to it, is Our Exorcism Film.
I guess
That's
They didn't have time to come up with a good name. They were doing an exorcism.
I mean, they really did an exorcism, so I get it. That's fine. But it doesn't matter. They win. Hooray! Dana accepts the award. And also the Danas are sitting together during the movie.
Bing, 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 bing.
Hey. Dana goes up there and accepts the award. Oh, Chuck is there to give him the award, along with some accented older man, who I don't know who that is.
I just took him as like the head of the
some
festival.
Board. Yeah. Dana says he gets up to make a speech. We wanted to make a film about an exorcism. It almost didn't happen, but then it did. And then he pulls out one last time his bit about, hey, do you ever think that how do rappers decide what kind of dance moves they do?
Yeah, because it was something like if they had asked me what I wanted to make a movie about, it would be this thing.
Yes, it was like if I was in charge, I would. If I was in charge, I would make a movie about how rappers get to, or why rappers get to. Exactly. If I was in charge, I could make a movie about how rappers get to make their own dance moves or whatever it is, and I'd call it a hip-hopoly, and everybody laughs, or like a few people laugh or clap or cheer. I don't know. Yeah,
he gets vindication.
Yeah, that's all. That's all that matters.
Great, great moment.
Out back, Charlie and Lisa are, I said Charlie and Lisa are out back flirting and making out. That's all that really happens. They like each other. Yeah, okay. And then it's finally revealed where Matt is, because Matt is not here. I think somebody actually says like, hey, where's Matt? At the beginning of that scene. But it's revealed that Matt is with Sister Helen at the school. And she has given him 6 months of detention. Although there is another way that he could finish his sentence a little quicker.
Did anybody else think that they were going for sex?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
And maybe that was intentional, because they had set up earlier.
He's got to eat out the box to get attention.
Oh God.
I hate the way you
honestly
use
did
words.
not. I really thought it was just going to be them just going together and doing another one. I thought she was going to give them a new assignment for some reason. Like she's their M or something.
Does.
Nope. Instead, it's the Avengers Initiative.
Basically, yeah.
She's wearing an eye patch now.
Yeah. There was an idea, Matt.
Do David Lynch as Nick Fury.
There was an idea, Mr. Stark. Wait, let me get the line. Hold up. Nick Fury, Iron Man lines. Oh, so they set up. Basically, they have to go fix Rufus. Actually, finish the exorcism.
Yes.
And then they do. It's very funny. I really wish they would have stopped with that slow-mo shot of him falling down and then running past, because we see like Dana fall into frame.
Yeah.
And then we see the rest of them run, and then they go in, and then they go to the right. That's like a little teeny tiny bit too much for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But it still worked because it cuts it's still very short.
Yeah.
It's still so much shorter than it could have been.
Yeah.
Which was great. Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. I'm just on top 10 Nick Fury. There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people. Just good. Joe, you recognizing some of these lines?
No, I can't remember a single
I was
thing.
say don't bullshit us.
I recognize that the council has made a decision, but considering it's a stupid ass decision, I'm going to ignore it.
That sounds like him.
You want to know how I control it? Because I'm always pissed.
That's
God, see, Joe's
You guys want to know how I
same
control
voice.
it? It's because I'm always wearing a diaper.
Oh, lame Joe.
I'm sorry, Joe, but you should not have told us about the diaper party.
I think it
it
was
sucks.
a fine family gathering.
I
don't
just say what
see
sucks
anything wrong.
about this is that it's like a totally wholesome thing to do, to hang out with your buddy and celebrate them becoming a dad and giving them diapers because that's hard. And but it's Joe, so we have to shit on him.
That's the thing, is that like, regardless of what Joe tells us that he's done,
Yeah, it's also calling it the diaper party.
it's going to sound a little weird.
Yeah,
It's the
Because
zoo
it's
part.
Joe, it's the zoo,
yeah.
it's the name,
the zoo.
it's the fact. But at the end of the day, it's the fact that Joe did this.
Yeah.
It's Joe's kin, so things are gonna be off.
If Zach came in saying, "Oh yeah, Maddie and I drove down, went to the zoo. Our friend's having a baby. We did a little diaper party thing. That sounds great."
Yeah.
But Joe's like, "Yeah, we had a diaper party with my buddy at the zoo." Wait, hang on a minute.
And not for nothing, but Joe Buckley can be counted on to get his fucking ass down to the zoo, down at the end of the state, with an armful of diapers. Yet, Malevolent Movies can't get him to show up on time and ready to go.
I apologize. I was just a
There's
little
that too.
late. I had to write the lies into my script. I was late.
Fine.
It's whatever. Joe.
It's fine. Ryan's not even on that episode. I'm one of the
Yeah,
fuckers
I know.
that had to do that waiting.
Yeah, you guys had to suffer through it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
we
gonna
had a
say. Also, I went with Tad, and he was so tired on the way home that for the last 2 hours of the journey, I just drove his car at like 2 a.m. like down the interstate from St. Louis to back to LaSalle.
Wait. So like,
So
this
what?
is a big revelation that you only drove for 1/5 or 1/6 of the total transportation.
Ted trusted me to drive his car.
Oh, because of the accident. and other
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
It's a big moment in your relationship.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I was just listening to old O&A on the radio to keep me up.
Yeah, to learn new
Okay.
things to steal. Yeah.
Oh, I bet it kept you up. I
Uh-huh.
bet it did.
Yeah.
Which episodes did you listen to?
I was listening
Which
to some
ones did you
Lady
steal
Guy
from?
stuff.
We
She's
need
like,
we need to know exact episodes and timestamps. that you
Oh,
listened
okay.
to
Yeah, because we need to go back to those.
No.
Scrub through those to find all the jokes she said tonight. There's a whole bit about a diaper party. There's a whole bit about the zoo.
Oh,
uh-huh.
All right,
I
Ryan,
was
set us
listening-
up,
Anyway,
set us up.
that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the movie. So
All right,
Yeah.
yeah. And there you have it, everybody. Bad Exorcists on a scale from average to big. I mean, from malevolent to benevolent. Joe, spit it out.
I think this is a benevolent movie, you know? I like the boys, the Matt, Charlie, and Dana. I like watching them, interact, just kind of do some goofs with each other. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty well-made movie, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
there you go.
Great one.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll see what Trevor says.
Oh, Trevor says a lot of stuff. Trevor liked this movie. This is benevolent, absolutely. I feel like we've said pretty much everything I want to say already. It's great. It was very well made. The jokes are wonderful and do not overstay their welcome. And even when they do, it's still about half the length of a normal one of these bits that get stretched out beyond belief. So yeah, absolutely. I would watch this again and again and again. And I think you should too. And I hope they do something else and soon. It's already been 7 years since this came out, so hopefully not too much longer until they get to make something else. Zach, what do you think about these goofuses?
This made me sad in a good way. This was a really fun movie that I think is benevolent, but it made me sad because we haven't made a movie in like 5 years, and I'm like, this is the kind of garbage we like to make. This isn't even garbage. This is definitely above what we would
this is
make,
not garbage.
but it's very fun. It's benevolent. Definitely watch it. I like this one a lot.
Also, briefly, almost a family-friendly movie.
Yeah.
There's not many dirty words. It's a little gross, but in a way that's kind of, it's just like green, gross, slimy, like ugh, like
It really is not bad.
Because I don't think we saw Boobus in the hot tub.
there's no
she covered
there's
herself.
no nudity.
No
They call them
tots.
tots,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
feel like is kind of
It's a
dancing around the line.
PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This would be a PG-13.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, and a tame PG-13 at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
the
even
jokes-
when she becomes possessed, and the most famous obviously references all the filthy, awful things that Linda Blair says in The Exorcist, and this she's just basically saying you guys are bitches.
Yeah.
And very tame.
Mhm.
So, but still very good, very funny.
Oh yeah.
I guess Tyler.
I really liked it. This kind of was a scramble. I can't remember what we were supposed to watch originally, or I think it was just a concept that
Student
just didn't pan
bodies.
out.
Oh yeah.
What'd you say?
Student body.
Student body.
Yeah,
Student bodies, yeah.
yeah. And when I browsed through it to build the synopsis for us, it just wasn't good. I'm not. This is not a testament to the film itself. It's just for what we wanted to do. It wasn't fun, and so was trying to find something like Butcher the Baker's, Grace's Room. You guys get it. And this was the one that the group agreed upon, and I'm glad that they did. It enjoyable. Disappointed. I want more from you, team.
Kyle?
And
Or whatever his first name is.
yeah, Kyle.
yeah,
And I agree
Kyle.
with everybody's sentiments here. It just really bummed me out because it's been,
Yeah.
we are going on year 6 of making a movie, year 5 since one has
Releasing.
released.
Yeah.
Guys, hit us up, bother us, make us want to make a movie again. Like, we send us more movies like this to encourage us to do it, because the whole time Zach loved the lighting, and I was like, God damn, I
Yeah.
want to make something where Zach gets to
Beautiful.
do lighting like this. Like,
Beautiful.
it's just, it's a good time. It's what, 80 minutes, 85 minutes. It's not,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
digestible. It's hard to find. I will say that much. Like, there's not DVDs of it. And I can't remember. It's like streaming on like 2 different places I saw for like $3. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. For $3.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on Prime Video.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Nice.
okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you have to pay, or is it free with?
You have to pay, but it's like, I mean, it's like $3.
It's a buck.
It's worth
Okay.
it. It's
It's
yeah,
99 cents to watch
Yeah.
on Prime Video.
it's worth it. You'll get more than
Yeah.
$1 worth out of
Yeah.
it. Trust me.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I'd buy it for 3.
I'd buy it for many dollars.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, my sentiments have already been echoed. It was a great time. I've been real down on horror comedies to the point I don't want to ever watch one ever again, really. And then Bad Exorcists brought me back a little bit. It brought me back into the fold where I know there are these good ones out there, and I would like to see these. It kind of did what Spider-Man No Way Home did for me with MCU. I was kind of out. It pulled me back in. Hopefully the next horror comedy doesn't do to me what Doctor Strange did, but that'll be another episode. So, yeah, good time. Watch Bad Exorcist. Looking forward to what the director does next as far as making a feature film. My high recommendation.
Awesome.
Benevolent with a B.
Oh, yeah.
Big
If
B.
I didn't say benevolent, I said benevolent too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooray.
So,
Wow, guys, we did it.
We sure
Yay.
did.
We did it.
We did it. Woo, woo. We
Uh-huh.
got some new terms. There was no red blanket in this movie.
No, there was not.
No.
Yeah, Joe,
had a good time.
Do you know what the red blanket is?
Oh,
Just
come on,
kind of
Joe.
something that brings down the mood.
Okay. You picked up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Joe knows about context clues.
So,
Learning
What's
about
funny
him.
is Joe's intelligence, we didn't realize all this time, is in his facial hair. And he never had any, but now
I
the,
kept
the
shaving
thicker
it off.
the beard
He's more-
gets,
Yeah.
He's
the
thinking
more
more.
astute he becomes.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like
Uh-huh.
Doing
Samson.
this a lot more.
Yeah.
And listen, people,
Yeah.
if you want to have a diaper party in the comment section, leave us a lot of good comments.
No, please.
Rate and subscribe to the YouTube channels. Make sure to hit the bell notification. And we also,
Those, yeah.
yes, we also have a sister podcast, A Man with No Brain, where me and Ryan just kind of bipping back and forth, kind
Bip
of
and
figuring out
Yeah, bip
what's
bop.
going
Is
on.
that
in my
what we
brain.
do?
You
Is
know,
that what we do, Joe?
Classic
Yeah,
Bip
yeah.
and bap?
stuff.
Yep.
It's on hiatus right now, but if you haven't heard the backlog, a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back and listen.
And you can also, if you would like a t-shirt, we've got like several designs over on Threadless. Yes, Trevor's wearing one right now.
Well, they're not gonna see
Oh,
this,
true.
Joe.
Okay, yes, that's true.
But he
But
did
yes,
explain.
We've got several good designs by Trevor. We've got lots of good stuff up there. So if you'd like to buy a t-shirt, hit us up.
Yeah. Do that as well.
All right.
Yeah. Everything Buckley said.
Somebody spank me.
That should be just the ending of the voice saying that.